Every Trailblazer who has unlocked the mail feature shall receive, via mail, one limited 5-star character Doctor Ratio.
What? Okay, I guess everyone's getting a free Doctor Ratio. So before he is released, let's talk about what to prep for him. This video will be a build guide discussing his best Lightcones, Relics, Teamcomps, and since he will also have a banner, we'll talk about his Eidolons for anyone planning to pull for them. Starting with Doctor Ratio's best Lightcones, his signature Baptism of Pure Thought is very strong. His best in slot, it gives crit damage, damage percent, and defense ignore. Considering they gave him for free, they clearly want people to pull for his Lightcone. It's nasty. But other options that are very good are Topaz's signature, but only use this if you already have it. Cruising in the Stellar Sea will be his general free-to-play best in slot. It's really easy to superimpose through the Herder shop, but if that weapon is on someone else, then Swordplay, preferably at S5, can be really strong in single target. So moving on to Dr. Ratio's best Relic Sets. Firstly, there will be a new set in 2.0 that will be his best in slot, but you can't exactly pre-farm that, so let's talk about what we have. The Imaginary set, of course, will be good. The 4-piece follow-up attack set is also pretty strong. You can also just do a 2-piece combo of the two, and you'll still be fine. For the planar ornaments, Inert Salsado, of course, will work perfectly, as he is follow-up attack focused, with a buff to his ult also being nice. Otherwise, use Firmament Frontline. It will generally be his best set, but use whatever has the best substats and right main stats. Speaking of which, Dr. Ratio's preferred main stats are crit on the body. He has a good chunk of crit rate in his kit, about 12 to 27 with max traces, so most people will use a crit damage body. Then the boots, speed, unless you're reaching at least 134 through substats, then attack percent is okay. The Planisphere should be imaginary damage, and the rope should always be attack percent. Now for the substats, Dr. Ratio is your standard hunt DPS, give him as much crit as possible, then speed is the next valuable stat, and then attack is okay. Don't aim for it though. Now for his ideal team comps. So Dr. Ratio is an SP negative DPS who focuses on debuffed enemies. Some of his best teammates are Welt, Pela, and Topaz. Welt, Pela, and even Silverwolf apply debuffs to enemies and help Dr. Ratio dish out more damage because of the boosts he gets when attacking debuffed enemies. Topaz is also a strong option as she buffs his follow-up attacks while being a strong sub DPS without draining SP. So some strong team comps are Dr. Ratio Hypercarry with the standard 1 debuffer, 1 buffer, and sustain. Luocha Fushuan will be the best as their SP positive. Pela and Welt will be the best debuffers because of their AoE in multi-target. Then Silverwolf will be good for single target. And then any Harmony unit can be used to buff Dr. Ratio. Tingyun, Asta, Ruan Mei, Yukong at E6, or even Bronya. For a dual DPS with Topaz, Ruan Mei will be the best buffer for both the DPS units. And then Pela or Welt would be the best debuffer for the slot. Finally, onto Dr. Ratio's Eidolons. They're not that great. E1 lets him have more summation stacks, which is his A2 trace. It pretty much gives him a little more crit. E2 boosts his imaginary damage based on how many debuffs the enemy that is hit with his follow-up attack has. E4 gives him 15 energy every time his talent is triggered, so 15 energy every follow-up attack. Then E6 increases his follow-up attack damage by 50% and increases the trigger count for Wiseman's Folly by 1, which means when an ally attacks an enemy applied with Wiseman's Folly from Dr. Ratio's ult, he will do a coordinated follow-up attack 3 times instead of only 2 times before he needs to reapply the effect. Okay, so that's it for the Dr. Ratio quick guide. So Destruction has sort of taken over the meta, leaving characters like Zila to struggle to keep up. But honestly, looking at Dr. Ratio's numbers, he's going to perform pretty well. He can get close to outputting almost double Zila's numbers at E0. I think he's going to save Hunt. Not too bad for a free character.